Assalamu alaikum. Very good evening and good morning to everyone who's watching us and this live from different parts of the world. This is Anika Subhamad Upama, founder of Evolution360 and Empower Women, UN Women Champion 2016, welcoming you all to today's episode 1 of the webinar series on combating gender-based violence in the corporate world. This webinar series is jointly organized by Evolution360 and Manusher Jonno Foundation on occasion of 16 days of activism. And me, Upama, will be with you in today's entire session as your host. So I request all our honorable guests to comment whatever queries you have regarding our event in our comment box in the Facebook Live. And also those who have joined us in Zoom, you can comment your queries in our chat box. Moving towards our official session. Before going into the details, I would like to give you some information about Evolution360, who's working as an ally from Bangladesh in this international WECOMMIT campaign of UN Women. We are organizing this webinar on the topic combating gender-based violence in the corporate world in Bangladesh. And we'll be having insights from different corporate CEOs and different corporate personals who have been working in this industry since very long. Evolution360 is a registered youth-led community organization established in 2016, which focuses on youth empowerment and skill development with a vision to create a gender-equal world with active youth participation. Currently having more than 500 youth volunteers all over Bangladesh, we are extremely grateful to our partner Manusher Jonno Foundation and also UN Women for all the assistance towards us in launching this grand event. Today we have as our guest, we have as chief guest Anna Falk, Head of Secretariat, Women Empowerment Principles from UN Women. And as our guest of honor, we have Shahin Anam, Executive Director, Manusher Jonno Foundation. And as our honorable panelists, we have Asif Ibrahim, Vice Chairman, New Age Group, Maliha Kader, Managing Director, Shohoj Food, and Tasnia Atik Ahmed, Director, Ahmed Food Private Limited. So before going into the details of our session, I'll take some time to give you some insights about UN Women's WECOMMIT campaign. So WECOMMIT campaign is a call to action for private sector companies, enterprises, and employer organizations, stock exchanges, pension funds, and wealth management funds with the aim to sign and deepen implementation of the Women Empowerment Principles. And regarding WECOMMIT campaign, now I would like to invite our chief guest, Anna Falk, to give some more details on WECOMMIT. And for our dear audience, I'd love to introduce Anna for all of you. Anna Falk heads the Secretariat of the Women's Empowerment Principles and Initiative of UN Women and UN Global Impact. She manages the European Union funded program We Empower through responsible business conduct in G7 countries. Anna provides policy advice, promotes online collaboration, learning and innovation to advance women's economic empowerment across the world. And as an economist, Anna has more than 20 years of experience as an economic advisor within the UN system. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Anna.
Thank you so much, Upama. I'm so excited to be here with you today and also to hear from all of you about some of the issues that you're facing in the workplace. So can I share my screen?
Yes, sure.
Yes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the work that we do. While I'm based in UN Women in New York, this work is relevant globally. And oops, it skipped very quickly. But basically, it was just the title page. And I'm from UN Women. I assume that many of you know what UN Women is about. But basically, it's the one entity in the United Nations that focusing on gender equality and women's empowerment. And we were established 10 years ago through a resolution of the UN General Assembly in the context of the UN reform. And at the same time, the Women's Empowerment Principles were established to really advance gender equality. The private sector is really, really key here to support the advancement of women in the workplace, marketplace, and community. And I'm very excited to be here, and thank you so much, Upoma, for inviting me and to be part of this conversation. I'd like to go into a little bit of what the women's empowerment principles are about. And we talk about them in different ways. We talk about them as a global framework, what companies can do to advance gender equality and women's empowerment. And as you will see, there are 7 principles that I have laid out on the screen. And the most important one is the high-level corporate leadership. We have seen that companies that succeed with this is when the CEO or the top person in the company are the ones that have signed on and made this commitment. Because when a leader stands for something, the partners, the employees, the suppliers, everybody listen and want to be part of it. Then we have the 3 following principles are really about the workplace. So gender equality in the workplace involves, for example, equal pay, work-life balance, parental leave, a lot of those issues that we are tackling in the workplace. Today, you're also going to speak about gender-based violence, and that's covered under the 3rd principle with employee health, well-being, and safety. And it's safety both from violence and harassment, but also safety in the workplace, in factories, and the mere physical safety as well. Education and training of women is a key pillar as well. And then what is interesting with the 5th principle, it covers enterprise and supply chain development. So here's where we encourage our companies to engage with other companies with similar values and that also stand for sustainability, gender equality, and women's empowerment. It also involves marketing practices. So it's very common that we can see gender stereotype that exists in society be reproduced through advertising and marketing. And we are calling here upon companies to really think about removing those stereotypes, to put people and the images of people in the advertising and marketing from a very progressive standpoint. So instead of putting, for example, a woman taking care of the children, it could be the father in the family that does so. So to kind of provoke a little bit the roles of women and men and see how your company can help advance the sharing of responsibilities in the household, for example. The equality through community advocacy is really to involve women and girls through the work and understand what their needs are. So whether it's developing a product or a service, knowing what women and girls need and what they're looking for, but also to engage them more broader in community discussion and dialogue on how to advance gender equality and women's empowerment. I said that the first one was the most important, high-level corporate leadership, but the last one is actually equally important. This is really tracking progress and seeing results. And we have seen that companies that are measuring what they're doing on gender equality are more successful because they know where they are on the journey. So I started off with this slide talking about that the women's empowerment principle is a framework. And I just talked about this global framework and how companies can basically advance gender equality and women's empowerment by looking at these 7 principles. But it's also a journey. We don't expect anyone that engages with us and the women's empowerment principle to actually be perfect when you join. We encourage all companies of any size, and we heard from Upoma that we are looking for all types of companies from all industries, but also all sizes. We also welcome trade associations, chambers of commerce, and other networks that have an influence over its members and can help guide them towards this on this journey. It's also a partnership, as we are engaging today in discussion about the WeCommit campaign and how we can help and support you in joining this journey with the Women's Empowerment Principles. It's also a network, and as we will see, it is a network of companies across the world, and there are signatories in 141 countries, and we see the top numbers of signatories in Brazil, Turkey, Japan, US, India, and Spain. So you see here, Bangladesh still has something to do, and you can put Bangladesh on this map as being the top country that really are advancing gender equality and women's empowerment through the Women's Empowerment Principles. And just briefly, I talked about it as a journey. I won't go into details, but it is a journey with us as UN Women. And as we are driving this, we know that companies need some time to consider whether joining us or not. And this, for some, is a quick consideration, and many companies are joining us as soon as they learn about this opportunity, whereas others need to consult with the legal departments and really get the buy-in from the company. It also depends on the size, of course, on how much work is being done before signing. And the signature for us is very important, and we really encourage the signature to be made publicly available. That's why we also have the WeCommit campaign, to really encourage business leaders to say, yes, I'm standing up for gender equality and women's empowerment by the signature. But it's also because we know that once a commitment has been made public, we know that it will be followed through. There will be activities happening. Nobody is making a commitment without actually following through. So we encourage public on social media and press release, and we give signatories different templates to do so. We also encourage the activation by, we can help you to also develop WEP's action plans and understand how you can measure it. Our website is WEPS.org, so we call the Women's Empowerment Principles briefly WEPS, Women's Empowerment Principles. And then we encourage you to also activate your business partners, your vendors, suppliers, and others in your ecosystem to really take this on board as well, so that when you start purchasing goods and services, you're buying from others that have the same values. And in the sustaining phase is really about communicating the progress. And we also have on our website a number of case studies and trying to celebrate the successes of companies as much as we can. And finally, we are working on a opportunity to also share that yourself on the company profile page that you are being given on our website to be able to showcase your commitment and your work on gender equality. You'll see some of these. This is part of the WeCommit campaign to really give you the assets for social media to show that you are standing up for gender equality and women's empowerment. And just very briefly, we'll go into the details, but applying for the Women's Empowerment Principles has two parts. One is that the CEO of the company signs what we call a CEO statement of support and upload it on our website, weps.org/join. And so it is an opportunity to share the photo of the CEO, a quote from the CEO, and also some other information that you'd like to share with the WEPS community. And as you are, I think we might not have a discussion, but I'm happy to take questions after the next presentation. And I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and see how we can make you part of the Women's Empowerment Principles network and make it a strong partnership in Bangladesh. So back to you, Opoma, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Anna, for such an amazing presentation and for your valuable insights on this topic, definitely. And I'm really feeling fortunate that I've been uh, involved with women empowerment principles and got the opportunity to promote it since 2016. And now Evolution 360 is also working as an ally of WECOMMIT, which is such an important campaign for all the countries. I would say not only Bangladesh or Asia, it's for global, it's a global campaign, important and very important aim and objective. So thank you, Anna.
Thank you. And I'm happy to go deeper into this discussion if time permits, and maybe also talk a little bit about why it matters. So
Sure,
yeah,
definitely.
I'll stay here for a little bit.
Would love to have you more and we would love to hear from you more. So I would request my audience, if you have any question for Anna or any queries regarding WeCommit, you can write it in the chat box. Anna will definitely answer that for you.
Sure.
Now moving to our guest of honor, শাহিনা আপা কি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? ওকে আপা, আপনার কাছে জানতে চাবো আমাদের ওয়েবিনারটা আজকে অ্যানা অলরেডি WeCommit সম্পর্কে অলরেডি বলে ফেলেছে। তো আপা, আজকের ওয়েবিনারের গুরুত্বটা এবং দ্য ইম্পর্টেন্স অফ দিস জেন্ডার বেসড ভায়োলেন্স ইন কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড অ্যান্ড ইম্পর্টেন্স অফ দ্য পলিসিজ যেগুলো আসলে নেওয়া দরকার এই ভায়োলেন্সটা এন্ড করার জন্য, আপা আপনার কাছ থেকে শুনতে চাচ্ছি।
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, Anna, for that presentation. I found it very interesting and very useful, actually. Good evening, all the participants from Manusha Janno Foundation. I'm really happy to be collaborating with this young, very talented group of people on this issue. As we all know, violence against women is a global issue, and it has its roots in the unequal power relations between men and women, basically. And it has been exacerbated by the present pandemic. So that is the overall situation, and we see a rise in violence, especially in domestic violence during the lockdown. But today we are discussing violence against women in the corporate sector. First of all, I want to say that we who work in the NGO sector or civil society sector, for many years, we have separated our work from the private sector. So the private sector is going on one side, we are working in parallel, and there's very little understanding among us, between us. But in the last, I think, decade, that has changed a lot, as we see that there's a lot of complementarity in our work. And if we collaborate, then many of the social problems can be addressed. And one of the social problem is violence against women. The private sector employs a huge number of women, especially, as you know, everybody knows our garment sector employs women, and so does other service sectors. However, the whole issue of sexual harassment or violence against women in the workplace did not get much importance for many years. And we have seen that women have suffered different kinds of violence in the workplace, and the employers have been quite unaware about it. Not knowingly, but just not. It was not a topic that was discussed. আমি একটু 2 মিনিট বাংলায় বলি যে আমরা প্রাইভেট সেক্টর, আমরা এনজিও, আমরা আলাদা কাজ করি, এবং আমরা জানতাম না যে আমাদের একসঙ্গে কোলাবোরেট করলে কি হতে পারে। হাউএভার প্রাইভেট সেক্টরের অনেক বড় এখন ভূমিকা দেশ উন্নয়ন। আমরা নিজেদেরকে বলি আমরা ডেভেলপমেন্ট কাজ করি, প্রাইভেট সেক্টরও ডেভেলপমেন্ট কাজ করে। প্রাইভেট সেক্টর যখন এমপ্লয়মেন্ট ক্রিয়েট করে, দ্যাট ইজ ডেভেলপমেন্ট ওয়ার্ক, তাই না? সো শুধু আমরা ডেভেলপমেন্ট কাজ করি, দ্যাটস নট ট্রু। সো কামিং ব্যাক টু দ্যাট, so there is sexual harassment in the workplace, and there is very little awareness among the employers or other people in different sectors, garment sector, other service sectors, in the education sector, in educational institutions. So many organizations, especially the NGO sector, we have looked into that, and we have tried to develop gender policies that addresses sexual harassment or violence against women. However, there was a court order, the High Court order, when a writ was made about sexual harassment in the workplace, and there was a kind of court directive that every institution that employs a certain number of men and women must have a committee, a sexual harassment committee. However, since it's not law, it's not been made into a law. It's a directive from the High Court. So this has not been implemented in most organizations. So I think that number one, organizations should be aware of this issue, the private sector, and take cognizance of the directive of the High Court. আমি যেটা বলছি সবাই বুঝতে পারছো যে আমাদের একটা সেক্সুয়াল হ্যারাসমেন্ট কমিটি করার কথা প্রত্যেকটা প্রতিষ্ঠানে, শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানে, স্বাস্থ্য প্রতিষ্ঠান, গভর্নমেন্ট অর্গানাইজেশন, নন গভর্নমেন্ট অর্গানাইজেশন অ্যান্ড প্রাইভেট সেক্টর। প্রাইভেট সেক্টর অনেক ফার্স্ট অফকোর্স গভর্নমেন্ট ইজ দ্য বিগেস্ট এমপ্লয়ার, তারপরেই প্রাইভেট সেক্টর এমপ্লয় করে হিউজ নাম্বার অফ পিপল, মেন উইমেন। আর এই সেক্সুয়াল হ্যারাসমেন্ট তো নারী এবং পুরুষকেই বুঝাতে হবে, তাই না? দুজনকে বুঝাতে হবে। শুধু only women are made aware of that, that will not work. We have to include men and take on men as allies to make everybody understand that a work environment in which women don't feel secure cannot add to the productivity. So for the sake of productivity, private sector ke egulo jinishe mon dite hobe. That for the sake of productivity, the private sector has to, or the corporate sector has to give attention to this issue. Otherwise, if women are scared to come to work or are face discomfort every time they come to work, obviously they cannot work well. Now, the problem lies mostly in the attitude and perception of society about women. All the violence that goes around, it is basically an attitudinal problem, thinking women are inferior or somehow they're not worth, giving importance to, or whatever. In the workplace, women feel intimidated sometimes to come out and express their problem. ওদের কোনো সমস্যা হলে বস যদি ওদের সঙ্গে এমন একটা আচরণ করলো, behaves in a way that is indecent, many times she will not come and say. So we have advocated that every institution must have like an ombudsperson to whom a woman will feel comfortable to come and complain and say, talk about her problem. So these are some of the ways that we can reduce violence or sexual harassment in the corporate sector. But why in the it's not that there's sexual harassment only in the corporate sector. It is in every sector, everywhere where men and women work together. They have to be aware of the fact that the colleagues need to be appreciated. They must be given the honor and respect as human beings, as colleagues, as persons that they deserve. That is the primary kind of, principle. And what Anna just said, that it is really about, kind of doing a baseline to see where we are at this moment, and then to kind of do another survey or evaluation to find out that how much a company or a private house has progressed in instituting a gender-friendly environment in the workplace. So private sector in Bangladesh has come a long way. There's no doubt about that. So many men and women work together. Women are now going into fields that were totally out for them for many, many years. Now that they have entered the workforce in such strong ways and working alongside men, these are the conditions that have to be fulfilled so that women feel safe to go out and work and be treated with dignity and with respect. Anika, আমি এখন এখানে থামি. I can come back to that if you want me to, but আমি এখানে থামছি. তুমি এখন অন্যদেরকে কথা বলার সুযোগ দাও. Over to
Thank
you.
you. We'll definitely come back to you again. And thanks to our guest of honor, Shahin Anam, Executive Director of Manusher Jono Foundation, for such significant and wonderful speech on our today's topic. Now, moving on to our today's discussion, my first question to our honorable panelists is, in context of Bangladesh, how safe is the government or non-government organization as a workplace for women? Or what is actually the current scenario of gender-based violence in Bangladesh? So with that being said, I would first give the floor to our honorable panelist, Asif Ibrahim sir, who is chairman of Chittagong Stock Exchange and also director of BGMEA and also vice chairman of a new age group of industries. Sir, the floor goes to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this very relevant and important discussion. The presentation was quite interesting, and we could see some of the measures that are being taken. And then also what Shahin Anam had said regarding the gap between the non-governmental organizations and the private sector. And the lack of awareness or information about the private sector is doing. I think that is also very important. Since I represent the ready-made garment sector, I represent BGMEA, what I can say is that the directive that was issued by the High Court, the BGMEA, we have circulated upon receiving the directive, we had circulated a direction to our members to formulate anti-harassment committees in the individual factories. The ready-made garment factories still continue to follow the court direction. On the other hand, in different projects, module BCC guidelines are included. The UNDP and the Ministry of Labor jointly conducted the survey, started first in 2014. And afterwards, the committee had made some protocol and submitted it to the Cabinet Division. And this is being implemented by the Department of Women Affairs of the Government of Bangladesh. If I can just show you, can I share this? Am I allowed to share?
Yes, sir, you can share.
Okay, wait, let me see how to get there. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, sir, the slide is visible.
So this is an example of a sexual anti-harassment committee that exists in a company called NASA Basics Limited with BGMA registration number 4087. You can see that they have 14 members in that committee, consisting of the welfare officer, then also workers from different departments of the factory, like from quality inspection, you have Nazma Parveen. Also, you have another representative welfare officer, then a sewing operator, folding person, quality inspectors, then many others. And then you have representation from the administration, one person from the factory company administration, and also you have an officer from BGMA who also participates in these committees to oversee from the association whether these committees are working fine or not. So this is being monitored very strongly by BGMA. We have regular audits, and we have a very big department to handle all this. So they go and they check all these matters. On the other hand, we've also got to not just for the harassment, but also we have identified that the lady workers, female workers, mental well-being is also very, very important. Shaheen had mentioned about in the pandemic situation, many issues of harassment and the numbers are increasing. So understanding that in mind, we have actually tied up with an organization called Moner Bondhu, which is an initiative for workers' mental well-being. We've identified that mental health is a key issue which has often been overlooked, and acknowledge the importance of mental health and well-being of our workers. It is one of our major concerns, and that's why BGMEA has joined hands with Moner Bondhu, which is a platform which provides care for mental health and well-being service. Moner Bondhu facilitators engage workers in many stress management and anger management exercises, meditation, which works as a quick remedy. The workers in the session before were very excited about experiencing a completely new type of session and said they felt very relaxed. They are also given the opportunity to connect with Moner Bondhu by watching a show in the Nagorik channel, which we are running on behalf of BGMEA and the social media of Moner Bondhu. We have so far successfully completed session in more than 50 factories till this December. So as you can see, we have taken sporadic initiatives from our association. Also, another project I would like to mention, which we had started, is what we call CHANG, CHA, and then NG in capital. It's an orientation and sensitization program, which we started in BGMEA 4 years ago. Basically, this project is undertaken with UNFPA, and it is in consultation with the Ministry of Labor and Employment of Bangladesh government. So jointly, we are doing this project. Under the project, trainings are being provided to the employees and workers of 40 garment factories to create a gender-conducive work environment through raising awareness on sexual and reproductive health rights, SRHR, and gender-based violence, SBGV. So these are also ongoing projects which the association has undertaken to create awareness amongst the membership that it is a very important topic and that we need to address it very seriously going. Apart from that, we 70% of the workforce of the ready-made garment sector are women. We have close to 3 million workers in this sector, and many of these women, they come from rural Bangladesh, and through our skills development programs, we also have more than 50 training centers across the country where we try to upgrade their skills so that they can get more wages which are more comparable to their male counterparts. So these are some of the initiatives that from in our sector that we have undertaken, and we hope to take this issue very seriously and continue with our efforts in doing such projects in future. If you are interested to come and participate with our efforts in BGMEA, you are more than welcome to do so. You can contact us in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights and such amazing information. I'm sure most of our audience didn't know about these facts. And congratulations for doing so much in this sector and conducting so many projects on this issue so much effectively. We can hope that with your guidance and with cooperation of all the other companies as well, we can take Bangladesh and make Bangladesh gender equal world.
Thank you.
Coming to our next panelist, Tasnia Atik ma'am from Ahmed Food Private Limited. Ma'am, the floor goes to you.
Okay, so thanks for the privilege, and I think I'm the youngest over here, so I'll be trying to be more prompt. So thing is, I'll talk about my personal experience. আমি নিজেই actually discrimination শিকার ছিলাম. I started my career when I was only 18 years old. So তখন আমার chain restaurant ছিল, and just because I'm a female, আবার রেস্টুরেন্ট 3 বার এই এরিয়াতে ভেঙে দেওয়া হয়েছিল। সো আই নো how far the violence can go. বিকজ এই এরিয়াতে, আমি যে এরিয়াতে থাকি সেই এরিয়াতে কোনো ফিমেল ডমিনেটেড কিছু ছিল না। সো আই ফেস দ্য ওয়ার্স্ট। আই থিঙ্ক আমি এই এরিয়াতে সবাই আমাকে চিনে দ্য ভিকটিম। সো ওই টাইম থেকে আমি চিন্তা করছি, আই এম থিঙ্কিং দ্য ইনিশিয়েটিভস এখন যেটা নেওয়া হচ্ছে, দ্যাটস লাইক আমার দরকার ছিল এগুলো ওই আমলে। And যখন আমি কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ডে জয়েন করেছি, when I started this career in Ahmed Food, so I was more like aggressive towards it, that I need the policies, I need everything that no woman can face it, মানে কেউ ফেস করবে না। So I have our factory has 70% population হচ্ছে women and 30% হচ্ছে male. So basically এটা এখন female dominated. So I was very serious about it, that no woman should face this. And এই discrimination গুলা এখন করোনার টাইমে these days যে আমরা statistics গুলো দেখছি, I was shocked. I mean, personally, I went to them and asked them, are you all okay? Are you facing anything? And is everyone doing all right in homes? সবাই ঠিক আছে কিনা? So there were 2 or 3 girls who spoke, and আমাকে এসে বললো যে my husband is beating up because I'm spending more time in my home, and this is horrible. Can you do something about this? So I took it personally. Since I'm a female, I took it very personally. So this is not right, and আমি ওইটার জন্য স্পেশালি এটা বলি, এমনি পলিসিস তো আছে আমাদের violence against sexual harassment against we have 2016 এ জয়েন করার পর থেকে I have set personally এই জিনিসগুলো আমি ধরে 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 সবগুলো ঠিক করেছি, and ওই পলিসিসের জন্য আলাদা কমিটিও আছে এখন, and I am also ওই inside the committee. And সেটা ছাড়াও প্যান্ডেমিকের টাইমে যখন আমি এই জিনিসগুলো পার্সোনালি দেখলাম, when I saw myself যে actually this is true and this is very alarming, so I set another committee যে make sure nobody is harassed within the corporate, and যদি এটা পার্সোনাল লেভেলেও হয়, can we help, can we do that? So they said okay, we'll take care. I just আমি ওই কমিটিকে পার্সোনালি সবগুলো পলিসি গুছিয়ে দিলাম যে inside and outside, within home, doesn't matter, every woman deserves it. And এই জিনিসটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমাদের আরো অনেক বছর আগে করা উচিত ছিল। না জানে কত মানুষ, কত মেয়ে এই সেক্টরটাতে কাজ করতে পারে না, just because of the harassments, not necessarily sexual harassments, মেন্টাল স্ট্রেংথটাও কিন্তু ব্রেক করে দেয় একটা মেয়ের জন্য, যখন একটা কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড অথবা একটা অর্গানাইজেশনাল এনভায়রনমেন্টে আমরা যখন এরকম একটা জিনিস ফেস করি, আই হ্যাভ ফেসড মাই সেলফ, সো ইট ওয়াজ হরেবল। আমি বলতে পারবো না, at times there were times যে I felt like I should quit, but thank God এখন এই জিনিসগুলো I can see myself improving. Girls are leading the industries and corporate and private, and I am in the private sector as well, so I feel safer than before. And thank you so much for the initiatives. I could relate to everything what everyone said, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud that we are working on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tasnia ma'am, for your wonderful words. And we are really inspired to hear from your struggling journey. Truly, you are an inspiration for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Now, coming to our next question, since we all know that we are facing a global pandemic and all the men and women are actually working from home, but unfortunately, that leaves the women with more possibilities to get harassed, whether it's domestic violence or cyberbullying or any kind of online harassment. So with that, my second question to the honorable panelists is, amidst this pandemic, what are the gender-based violences that your employees have faced, whether males or females? Is there any complaint regarding domestic violence or any kind of online harassment? If yes, then what is the role of your company regarding this? Coming to Asif Ibrahim sir first. Sir,
Yeah, okay, fine. Online, you talked about the new normal, the new work, the new paradigm, the new way of working, where many of the many of the persons and employees of the company are working from home. For a factory-based company, it's a different formula because they have to work from the factory. For those who are working from home, it's a new experience that they're tending to spend, particularly the male are spending more time at home and they're working from home. So it's certainly a different dynamic that they were experiencing from before. In terms of the adjustments, or in terms of any sort of policy guidance for working from home, I don't think any much progress has been made in that area, because this is absolutely a very relatively new concept that at least Bangladeshis are experiencing. This has been, it exists very much in the West, but for us, it's a very brand new concept, and you can say that this has just started maybe 6-7 months ago, from May, perhaps April, May, June from this year.
Right.
So we certainly need to look at this and try and get to some sort of policy, or include this in our HR practices and manuals about how to handle this new normal of way of working, and formulate policies accordingly. There's certainly a need for that. That's all I can say right now.
thank you so much, sir. Tasnia ma'am, coming back to you. Tasnia ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
যেটা বলছিলাম যে this is new actually. We couldn't even think যে this would happen like this, and male female কেউই কিন্তু বাসার বাইরে যেতে পারেনি, no one could go out. So আমাদের সিচুয়েশনটা একটু ডিফারেন্ট ছিল, because we produce আমাদের একটু ইন্টারাপশন ছিল, যাই হোক। সো আমাদের কেসটা একটু ডিফারেন্ট ছিল, বিকজ উই প্রডিউস। সো আমাদের ওই ফুড প্রোডাকশনটা কখনো অফ হতে পারেনি। সো আমাদেরকে যে ফিমেল ওয়ার্কারদের কথা বলছিলাম, তাদেরকে আসতেই হতো, বাট তাদের হাজবেন্ডরা কিন্তু বাসায় থাকতো। সো মানে ওই জায়গাটা থেকে ভায়োলেন্সটা আরো বেড়ে গেছে, বিকজ একটা মেল হি সিটিং মানে বাসায় আছে, বাট একটা ফিমেল ওয়ার্কারকে আসতেই হচ্ছে ফ্যাক্টরিতে। আমাদের ওয়ার্কার এনভায়রনমেন্টে আমাদেরকে সেট এরকম করা হয়েছিল মাঝে, যে উই হ্যাড সেট আপ হোল নিউ হোম, মানে কি বাসার মতো করে দেওয়া হচ্ছিল এক একজনকে আলাদা আলাদা করে, যেহেতু সোশ্যাল ডিস্টেন্সিং এর একটা ব্যাপার ছিল। সো ওদেরকে মাঝে মাঝে এখানে এসে থাকতে হতো। সো এটা এত বেশি ভায়োলেন্স ক্রিয়েট করে ফেলেছিল উইদিন দ্য ফ্যাক্টরিজ অ্যান্ড দের যারা কাজ ছিল তাদের বাসায়, উই couldn't, মানে আমরা আসলে হ্যান্ডেল করতে পারছিলাম না। সো it was a huge struggle, trust me. আমরা অফ করতে পারি না, আমাদের ফুড প্রোডাকশনটা অফ করার মতো অবস্থা ছিল না, গভর্নমেন্ট থেকে ইনস্ট্রাকশনও ছিল না যে you shut down the factories. So I don't know how we have faced, but it was a huge struggle for us, and also this is completely new to us. We didn't know যে এটা কিভাবে হ্যান্ডেল করতে হয়, বাট আলহামদুলিল্লাহ হচ্ছে যে নতুন নতুন পলিসিস আমাদেরকে ক্রিয়েট করতে হয়েছে, অ্যান্ড ফাইনালি ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি ফ্যামিলিকে বুঝাতে হয়েছে যে দিস ইজ আ নিউ, আচ্ছা আপনারা যদি কাজ না করেন আপনারা খাবেন কি, এটাও তো একটা ব্যাপার, তাই না? সো এইভাবে করে 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 পলিসিস গুলো সেট করতে হয়েছে পার্সোনাল লেভেলে, যে উই হ্যাড টু ইন্টারঅ্যাক্ট অ্যান্ড মেক দেম আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড। ইট ওয়াজ আ হিউজ স্ট্রাগল। আলহামদুলিল্লাহ we now have policies for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tasnia ma'am, for portraying all this information in today's discussion. And I completely understand that this is a new normal for all of us. And so all the corporate companies and the whole industry is still struggling to maintain this and to follow all the health precautions in this pandemic situation. However, we truly expect that we will overcome the situation soon and will be able to survive this. So thanks to both the panelists. And now, since we all know that this year's 16 Days of Activism theme by UN Women is Orange the World, Fund, Respond, Prevent, and Collect. So it's a wide theme, which includes funding, responding to the problems, preventing the violence, and also encouraging a collection of human effort. So my next question to our honorable panelists will be their opinion on this theme, Orange the World, Fund, Respond, Prevent, and Collect. Tasnia Apu, with your permission, I would like to give you the floor.
Sure. So this is a very good initiative, by the way. And Ami office already, I've told my office to wear orange for a day only. Whole office should wear orange to support this cause. And this is my initiative to, this initiative is a step. I'll be very happy to actually support this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tasnia ma'am. Giving the floor to Asif Ibrahim, sir. What is your opinion and your reaction, which we can expect on this theme?
Sorry, I to interrupt Korea. Asif obviously bolbe. Maliha has joined from Shahoj, so maybe she can speak. But let Asif speak first.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. Sure. So this year's 16 Days of Activism theme by UN Women is Orange the World, Fund, Respond, Prevent, and Collect. So how would you respond to this theme, and is there any plan from your company to do something regarding this?
Certainly, it's a very good initiative. It's a symbolic gesture that shows that is basically there to foster or you can say create awareness and unite the corporates in understanding the importance of the subjects that we are discussing here today. Individually, instead of doing it from a company perspective, perhaps it will be better if UN Women engages with our association. I would strongly recommend them to get in touch with us, with BGMEA, as we are doing many projects, as you have seen from my initial response. I think that would be a good way of going about it. So I encourage them to get in touch with us. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your sweet gesture. Now our another panelist, our honorable panelist, Maliha Kadir ma'am from Shahoj has joined us. Ma'am, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm on the road, so the internet is a bit bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're completely audible. So with your permission, ma'am, I would like to give you the floor and I would like you to tell the audience about the initiatives of your company on against gender-based violence and the good practices that you are promoting.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful platform. And I really appreciate Shaheen Appa and you guys doing this and inviting me. So look, Shahoj is a female-led company. We have got women in leadership positions and I'm very proud of it. So this is something very core to our heart and our psyche. So what we always do is we promote it, zero tolerance. I talk about it all the time with men. My HR head is woman. She also talks about it. So we make it very clear. It's absolute zero tolerance. You just won't get any mercy from us if anything happens. So I think promoting that, talking about it with men and women is important. The other thing I have seen in my 6 years of time, and I was surprised with that, is that women don't feel comfortable speaking up about it. And right. I can see, young girls, they feel uncomfortable, they're scared to speak up and report it. So we have an anonymous reporting mechanism that we are bringing in so that they can just put in, even if they're, if they're really that scared to talk about it. So that is there. The other thing we do is there are a couple of female leaders in the company. We have 300 people and a couple of female in the leadership position, and then there are young women. We have sessions, girls kind of sessions where we hang out, bond, and talk. And we, casually talk about it. Like, look, it's okay to report it. Basically, that's the intention of talking. So I think giving that space and courage to the young women, where they feel comfortable that, okay, it's going to be okay to tell Maliha ma'am something happened, or to tell somebody against my boss even. That is important. I think it's really important for girls to also feel that, look, these things happen. It's not your fault, first of all. You didn't do anything wrong, and you can report it, and it will be heard. So overall, I think having this open dialogue conversation, and generally I am, obviously being a woman, I'm pro women and promoting women within the organization, and telling girls, speak up, come up, sit in the front, don't go sit in the back of the table. I do that all the time, and we try to do it actively. And thankfully, from that perspective, we have a pretty good culture and environment, but it's work. It's a continuous work. So I think, we talk about zero tolerance, telling the man. I think it's even more important telling the woman that it's not your fault. Speak up, report it. Actions are going to be taken. Encouraging women to speak up, I think, is more important. Yeah. So overall, again, thank you for inviting me. It's a great initiative. From our end, from a cultural perspective, this is what we do. And I have dealt with cases where I fired people right away. Basically, I just fired. Like, there's just no zero tolerance. You'll be fired. So that I have taken. So it is also important for, while we don't want to embarrass the man, who had done it and gotten fired, it is also important for the organization to know that you could get fired if you do this, because otherwise people don't see, people don't know. Not knowing, you have to do it in a balanced manner. But it is all, I think it's also important for others to know that actions are taken when that happens. Yeah. So overall, the active dialogue, I think, is very important. Mentorship within the organization is very important, particularly with young girls, so that there's a one-to-one channel, and they feel comfortable speaking up. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maliha ma'am, for your wonderful words. And we're really glad to hear from you regarding the amazing initiatives and projects what Shahoj is doing. That's really inspiring. All right, so now I would like to invite Shaheen Appa again. I would like to have some insights of Shaheen Appa on the discussion. Shaheen Appa, can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, that was an amazing discussion, I must say. There's so much happening. We can talk about the negatives, and I think we do. We as women activists, we do talk a lot about the negatives, because a lot of negative things is happening. But then there are many positive things happening, like what Asif Ibrahim said about the steps that BGMEA has taken. Now, BGMEA is the apex organizations for all the garment factories, industries in the country, and it is so important that if they make a commitment towards anti-sexual harassment and violence against women and girls in the whole sector, then it has a huge impact. They are the monitoring body of the our largest kind of private sector organizations in the country. So their role is very important. So it was a learning for me also, I must say. Then, of course, the steps that Maliha, yes, of course, it's a women-led organization. One expects, this kind of, what should I say, initiatives for them. But that doesn't always happen, Just because an organization is women-led does not necessarily mean it will be women-friendly. Just remember that, So there are gender-sensitive women and gender-sensitive men. There are many women who are not sensitive, who take on the whole, mannerism of men, because they think that they will be more, respected or listened to. So, there is something very interesting about patriarchy, So anyway, that is another topic I don't want to go into. But the initiatives, for example, and the challenges that Tasnia faced, is also very, very common. Women are afraid to speak up. They get intimidated. Somebody now on the chat box asked me that, women sometimes they have to leave a job because it's not a gender-friendly environment, which is extremely difficult, but that is happening all the time, So what do women do? They really have to have more confidence. Sometimes it's not possible, but they have to take allies. They have to take their male colleagues as allies, as female colleagues as their allies, and really fight it. Excuse me. Unless they fight it, what we are doing, we are pushing against a kind of, mental barrier that society has about women and women's work, of what women should do and should not do, what women should wear or not wear, where women should go and not go, right? So we are pushing the boundary, and all of us has to join that pushing boundary. We have come a long way, definitely, but still we have a long way to go. And we must stay very, very strong on these principles, as Maliha said, about zero tolerance on sexual harassment and violence. That is something we have to stick to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaheen Appa. Thank you so much. That's wonderful to hear from you again. Such important things. And adding up to what Shaheen Appa said about patriarchy, which is an interesting topic. And as I always say, that unfortunately we are divided by gender but united by patriarchy. So patriarchy actually comes in all genders, from male and as well as female. And that is the reason why Evolution360 is replicating he for she and also promoting she for she, because women need to help the other women as well.
Yes,
That way only.
I'll add a word here.
Yes.
So একটা জিনিস বলি, আমি যখন head office, আমাদের there are two parts of Ahmed Food. One is head office and একটা হচ্ছে factory. So when I joined, there was only one girl, that was me. And আমি join করার পর থেকেই I suggested, why don't you have girls in your office? বলি কি না, girls cannot do sales, girls cannot do legals. I said, that's proper bullshit. Just look at me, ami to pari, tai na? So they can also do it. So just I started hiring girls. I need this for a department me lagbe, department me lagbe. So I recruited all the girls. So ekhon we changed the whole environment, and there are policy কিন্তু যেহেতু অফিসে মেয়ে ছিল না, সো পলিসি কোথা থেকে আসবে, সো পলিসিজ আসছে। সো একটা ফিমেল লিডার দরকার আছে একটা অর্গানাইজেশনের। কোনো এরকম কোনো অর্গানাইজেশন আমার মনে হয় থাকা উচিত না যেখানে একটা ফিমেল লিডার নাই। সো দ্যাটস মাই পয়েন্ট, যে ফিমেল a female can change a lot of things, and she can contribute it to the level. Trust me on this. I'm saying this because ami jani, I've seen the changed, and mane ami organizations gulake change hote dekhechi. Shaheen apake dekhen ajke, Maliha kadirke dekhen ajke. So females can change a lot. Trust me.
Totally agreed, Apu. Totally agreed. And audience er uddeshe bole rakhi je Tasnia Atik ma'am is also running, apart from being a director of Ahmed Food, she's also running Chillers. She's the owner of Chillers, and also she has another business which is Roaming Closet. So thank you for doing all this.
আমি যদি বলি, I speak for people, I motivate people. I'm a motivational speaker. That's like the second porichoy of mine. That's it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I got to know Asif bhai, I got to know Shaheen appa, Maliha appu, and thanks Supama for the platform. This was a very ki bolbo needed discussion, jeta actually সচরাচর corporate world এ এরকম করে হয় না আর কি। আমরা যে সবাই মিলে leadersরা কথা বলছি, এই জিনিসটা আসলে হয় না। So thank you very much for the platform.
Thank you, Apu. Evolution360.
get introduced to all of you. Thank you so much for the platform again.
Thank you, Abu. Evolution360 and Manusher Jono Foundation is glad to have all the honorable guests with us. And now, with that being said, I would like to give the floor to our honorable chief guest, Anna. Anna, with all our discussions today, I would love to have some thoughts from you regarding this, and if you have anything to say.
It's been really, really amazing. And Ipoma, it's so great to see you after so many years that we work together. That you are continuing this work in Bangladesh. It's really, I've shared it with Diana, my colleague, and she's also so excited to see that you are still working and driving this agenda. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This conversation has been so inspirational, and I have shared 2 documents in the link. One around sexual harassment, and one of the points that we are making there, and I also hear from the discussion today, it's difficult to train somebody to not do sexual harassment. What is easier is to train people to be good bystanders. So if somebody witness a form of sexual harassment or abuse of any kind, that they stand up for their colleagues, that they stand up for the person who's being abused and say, this is not right. It's easier because the sexual harassment means that there is a form of power relationship, and that somebody is imposing certain acts and actions in return for certain things. So there's a power relationship between the perpetrator and the victim, and therefore any bystanders, we need to train them so that they can step up and say no. And I really agree with the previous speakers. Zero tolerance is what we need to keep in mind. And what does that mean, zero tolerance? Zero tolerance is really, it's about me as the victim. I decide when I have been violated. It's not for the perpetrator to decide. Because if the perpetrator decide, you know, it's not going to work. So it is the victim that has the right to say, I feel uncomfortable, or I feel violated, and to step up, and conversation about this is really key. And another point is really around engaging men. And I'm very happy to see there's a lot of young men here today. You have the role as bystanders to really step up and say, this is not okay. We as men, we don't stand as a group of men, we don't stand for sexual harassment abuse. What we have seen, and I heard you also talk a little bit about the COVID-19 and working from home and domestic violence. That's the second resource that I put in. It is very, very important as employers to be observing what's happening in the home, because the workplace has moved from the office to the home, and that is now the new workplace. And to really be to checking in on employees and see how they're doing and have regular interactions and make sure that abuse is not taking place. And this is the interest of companies, because with absenteeism, lower productivity, the company suffers. So it is as much as an interest of the company as it is of the family and the victims themselves. Finally, this week, Upoma, you'll be happy to maybe share this with the group. We are starting a new series on our website with, we call them Boost Yourself. So this is an opportunity for young women to take our training materials. And it is about self-development and being able to have confidence, assertiveness, because it's also about speaking up on yourself if you feel uncomfortable with certain things. And it is about finding your place in the team. So we are rolling out the first 2, what we call boosters, to boost yourself this week. And then we will continue to roll out these 8 boosters in total. And we really hope that this material will also help both young women and men to become leaders on their own right, but also leaders for gender equality and women's empowerment. But thanks again, Upoma, for inviting me. And I'm so excited to continue this conversation, because it's so much we can do, and I congratulate you all to have this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna, for all the valuable resources that you have already provided us in the chat box, and also the important points that you have highlighted in today's webinar. And yes, we are looking forward to have you in the next episode as well. Probably, we'll definitely talk about that. And from Evolution360 and Manusher Jono Foundation, I would like to thank all the honorable panelists from the bottom of my heart for finding some time for today's webinar and giving your valuable time to us. And we are really grateful for your presence today. And hopefully from Bangladesh, we will have more signatories on women empowerment principles, and hopefully more companies from the corporate industry will be joining the WeCommit campaign to ensure a secure and safe workplace for everyone. So I would like to thank you all. Thanks for joining today, and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So with your permission, I would like to end today's live here, and I would like to thank all the participants and the audience who have joined us from different parts of the world in today's discussion. See you all in the next episode. Till then, take care and stay blessed.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.